Well, good morning. Thank you very much for joining me on this video. As you can see, once again, I'm in studio with a guest. My privilege and pleasure to introduce to you Mr. John Tiber, Managing Partner of Crawford Smith & Swallow, one of the very outstanding progressive accountant firm in the Niagara region. John, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for the invite. Yeah.
We want to talk to you today a little bit about the sale of your principal residence. One of the very, very few things that you can do in life without being hit with paying taxes, that and winning the lottery, I suppose. But it isn't always the case. And I'm thinking of a situation where we're dealing with residential property, but it's rural, and there may be excessive land. If you're sitting on a parcel of land that's, say, 1 acre in the country, am I right to assume that there isn't any tax on the sale?
The general rule is the sale of the house plus 1/2 hectare, which is about 1 acre,
okay,
is considered your principal residence and exempt from tax.
Exempt from tax. Okay, what happens if there's more land than that? What if it's what I'll call a hobby farmer? It's sitting on 10 acres of land. Maybe they've got a small barn with a couple of box stalls and a riding arena, and their children ride horses, and it's just for their own personal use. What's going to be the tax implications on a sale of that property?
It depends on the circumstances surrounding that property, how it can be subdivided, and those kinds of rules. If it's generally for your own personal use and there's some restrictions on it, and you can show that the restrictions prevent you from subdividing it and prevent you from doing anything else than your personal enjoyment, you can probably argue with CRA to say that it's a principal residence.
Say if it's on the escarpment commission or something like that, would prevent any kind of severance.
Yeah, like there's properties in the area that have restrictions as to how small they can go, either 10 acres or 4 acres or whatever. You document the argument, and should CRA come and argue with you, you say, well, this is what the local municipality is.
Can you ever win an argument with CRA?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You just have to have your documentation in order. Yeah.
So let's suppose you've got, for argument's sake, 10 acres, and let's suppose it theoretically could be severed, a lot could be severed off or whatever. You're selling the property. How do you establish the value of what I'll call the excess land? If we're arguing 1 acre with the property, the other, for example, 9 acres, how do you assess a value? Do you evaluate it as though it's severed and as though it's being sold as a separate 9-acre parcel?
I generally recommend to my clients that they would go get a professional appraisal in this case for the whole 10 acres.
But I mean, one argument could be, okay.
But in that professional appraisal, it will say what the selling price per acre is of farmland.
I see. So
farmland in Niagara-on-the-Lake, for example, might be going for between $50,000 and $60,000 an acre right now in grapery.
If it's actually agricultural land.
If it's agricultural land. So you would back that out of the total appraisal price, and the balance would be considered your principal residence.
If it's just bushland and walking trails and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you've got a property like that, I could argue whether the house is sitting on 1 acre or whether the house is sitting on 5 acres, it wouldn't ultimately make much difference in terms of the sale price of that property. It's a rural property either way. Could you get away with arguing that and saying the excess land doesn't really have any added value?
That's why I always recommend in those cases to get a professional appraisal, because in that professional appraisal report, it will tell you the comparative values of unimproved land.
Okay.
And
so, but it is safe to say, unless it's sheltered in some way, there is going to be some kind of tax implication on the sale of rural property. Is it more likely is it treated differently if it's not only zoned agricultural, but it's functioning agricultural? They've got 5 acres of grapes, or they grow hay, or they rent it out to a farm or something like that. Does that change the dynamics at all or not?
Not really, no.
It's just whatever it is valued at excessively in addition to the property in 1 acre.
Yeah.
Okay. John, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. Look forward to talking to you very soon.